weekend, I forked over my hard-earned currency and bought my first 10th edition codex, the Black Templar Codex. I've been waiting on this one for a minute and I have not been buying a lot of codexes for 10th edition. You kinda maybe don't necessarily have to because the rules are maybe out there on the internet, but I did want the physical Black Templar Codex because I have all of the codexes that have contained the Black Templars, and I have the original Black Templar Codex, and I wanted to see how this sucker compares. I wanted to see if there was any new lore in this book, and there a little bit kind of is. This book actually has some controversy surrounding it because of a slight change or retcon for the Black Templars that is in this book, and I thought it was actually pretty good. I really like the lore in this book. I really like the wording and the phrasing that they choose because it aligns with how I see the Black Templars, but that might not be how everybody sees the Black Templars. I've been playing the spit out of my Black Templars. I've played almost every single Space Marine detachment, and so I'm really excited for the 4 detachments that are in this book, but also in preparation for just getting newly excited about my Black Templars, I read Helbrecht, Knights of the Throne, which is a newer novel by Mark Collins. It was fine. It was okay. Space Marine novels tend to be pretty hit or miss. It all depends on how the Space Marines are characterized, and sometimes they're so like duty and honor that they're a little bit boring. The book had some interesting stuff in it. My favorite part was Helbrecht, newly passed through the Rubicon Primaris, is speaking with Rabute Gilliman, the girly man himself, and the conversation does not go well, which I really like. I like it when the Black Templars are zealots, when they are really kind of bad guys. That's when I really like the Black Templars. Less when they're like heraldric, honorable knights of the Round Table. That's every Space Marine chapter. That's the Dark Angels. The Dark Angels are the medieval Space Marines. The Black Templars are the crazy Space Marines. And so I want them crazy. And that kind of gets into the lore of the Black Templars. One of the big things about us is they hate psychers. They hate them with a passion. They abhor the witch. They do not take librarians. They will not fight alongside psychers. They detest them. And this has been a little bit of a sticking point for the Dark Eldar for kind of their entire history. In the 2005 Black Templar Codex, which I believe was for 4th edition Warhammer, there is a little tiny blurb that discusses this a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Exactly how these crusades communicate with each other is uncertain, though it is speculated that the Black Templars make use of only such navigators and astropaths as has been sanctified by other organizations and are repentant for the cursed psychic powers. So this book basically says, yeah, they probably use psychers because you have to. That's how faster than light travel and communication works in 40k, but nobody really knows for sure, don't worry about it. That is the original lore surrounding the Black Templars' use of psychers and astropaths. Now, that was the agreed upon lore for like 10 years until 2012 and 6th edition Warhammer. This Space Marine Codex, which is a little beat up because I remember taking this to high school most days to read it, this had a little bit more lore concerning the Black Templar and their love or hatred of psychers. Outsiders mistakenly interpret the lack of librarians within the ranks of the Black Templar chapter and the fury of which its battle brothers slay chaos sorcerers as an intolerance of all psychers. This could hardly be further from the truth, for the Black Templars hold special reverence for astropaths, seeing them as holy disciples who have actually communed with the Emperor. Navigators are similarly honored, for their psychic blessing allows them to see the divine light of the Astronomicon and guide the Black Templars through the warp to deliver righteous retribution against the Emperor's enemies. Now, I remember when this little blurb came out, people weren't overly thrilled about it. And I totally see why. Like, that's it doesn't make any sense that we hate psychers. We will not fight alongside librarians. We murder xenopsychers and cult psychers. Like, it's our sworn duty to the Emperor to do that. And yet, we like astropaths and navigators. Like, that every Space Marine chapter likes navigators and astropaths. It's not special to like them also. It felt like Games Workshop kind of shaving off the harsh edges of some of the Black Templar lore, but this was in 2012. This was over 10 years ago. So then this was the agreed upon lore of how the Black Templars view Psykers. Now, in the newest Black Templar Codex, the plot thickens. The Black Templars do not maintain a core of the battle Psykers known to other chaplains as librarians. The heirs of Sigismund cleave to a decree that the Emperor is said to have made before the terrors of the Horus Heresy unfolded, forbidding the use of supernatural powers amongst the Space Marines. The Black Templars despise what they see as occult manipulations and witchcraft amongst Xenopsychers, heretic sorcerers, and warp-tainted abominations. Those Imperial psychic mutants whom the chapter's fleets rely upon, such as astropaths, are grudgingly tolerated but cruelly treated, chained in cramped cells out of sight when not immediately needed. Conversely, there are some highly placed Imperial Psykers whom the Black Templars judge to be vessels of the Emperor's will. While the powers attributed to the Master Mankind himself, the greatest Psyker humanity has ever known, are, to those crusading zealots, simply evidence of his divinity. Some people are very mad about this because that does seem to go against what is written in the 2012 Space Marine Codex. I kinda like this a lot more because it returns us to, we don't like Psykers. Now, it doesn't make any sense to mistreat your astropaths and navigators. No, but I'm fine with the Black Templar doing dumb stuff because of the way they see the world. It makes them more interesting. I don't want Black Templars just to be extra angry Ultramarines. I want them to be zealous lunatics. I mean, look at this bowl cut guy on the front of the Codex. This guy is awesome. This guy would shoot an astropath in the face if anybody would let him. And I also kind of like the idea that the Black Templar, like if an astropath or navigator manages to like get on the good side of a chapter master, then they're kind of given the all clear. They're given a pass, but other than that, they kind of really hate Psykers. This is a little bit of a departure from some of the previous lore, but I don't know, it really doesn't bother me that much. To me, it just makes the Black Templar that much more zealous and evil and awful. And this book is actually pretty harsh on the Black Templars. Pretty much every paragraph describing them describes them as zealous, brainwashed, kind of lunatic-y. Like, they're not really shown in a very good light, which is good. I like the Black Templar being awful. My favorite part of that book that I didn't enjoy too much, the Helbrecht book, I like the parts where the Black Templars are kind of making the wrong call for reasons that align really well with their beliefs. Like, in this book and in the novel, it talks about, there might be really good campaigns and wars that the Black Templars should be participating in, but they just won't because there is a holy relic somewhere that they need to go capture and protect. And that is not really helping the Imperium out, but it is helping the Imperial Creed, the Imperial religion, and so they're zealots, and so they're gonna go after those holy relics more so than protecting the populations of humanity that are in desperate need of their help. Whenever I'm trying to interpret the lore of Warhammer 40,000, I always go back to the page 1. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. That first page of Warhammer 40,000 that's printed at the start of every single 40k rulebook, it lays it out so thoroughly. Everything is awful. The Emperor is a corpse lord on a golden throne. Like, it really goes, this is the worst times imaginable. To be alive in this time is to be in the most brutal regime possible. Like, I try to interpret all 40k lore through that lens. And so it doesn't matter if something kind of doesn't make sense, or is the wrong move, or is not the smart thing to be doing right now. It is the thing that is happening in Warhammer 40,000. And so overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the very small amount of lore in this book. Really, that Psyker blurb was the only thing new. Everything else is pretty much just a retelling of the same sort of a lore that's in all of the other books. Now, moving away from the lore and getting into the crunch, the rules in this book, the rules are phenomenal. I've been playing Black Templars since the launch of 10th edition. I've really enjoyed the rules from the index, but the Codex does kind of change everything. Most datasheets changed a little bit, but everything kind of changed for the better. You could say that Sword Brethren went down a little bit in their power output, but they got quite a bit cheaper, and they did kind of get better with lethal hits and damage 2 on all of their power weapons. So I would say overall, the crunch in this book is really good. One thing that is a little bit sad is the detachments in this book aren't overly exciting. One of them is all about bringing chaplains, and specifically the new chaplain that is for the Black Templars. Not an amazing detachment because that's not an amazing character compared to some of our other absolute monstrosities. Helbrecht still probably is the best Space Marine in the game. And the other one is based around the Crusade Ancient, which is another new model for the Black Templars, and he's pretty bad. And so having a detachment where you're kind of forced to bring 3 of him to make the detachment work is also not incredible, but I still think overall I'm really happy with all of the changes that they made to the rules in this book. I'm really excited to play my Black Templars and try out some of these newly written detachments and newly finagled units. One thing that does have me really excited is the new way that the Crusader squads are organized. Now, my perfect wish list would be Crusader squads are broken into 2 different datasheets. One of them is all about shooting and the other one is all about punching. But no, we're still just one datasheet, and the chainswords are always and forever the way to go. Why would you replace 4 chainsword swings? I think now it's 3 chainsword swings with sustained hits 1. Why would you swap that out for just regular bolters? You wouldn't really do that, and so you're never gonna do that. The box comes with enough bolters and chainswords so that you could build your squad either way, but you just never will build them bolters. This is a little bit annoying. The Emperor's Children actually got this in their Tormentors and Infractors. It's 1 box of Space Marines that lets you build either shooty or fighty, and it was split into 2 different datasheets, which I think is a really nice way to handle that. But Black Templars, I can bring Tactical Marines and just use all of those cool bits that come in the Crusader squads on the regular Marines and call it a day. That's for the most part fine. We now have a Surge move, much like Khorne Berserkers. Actually, it's an identical rule to the Khorne Berserkers rule. But if something shoots at us and it manages to down a Black Templars, then we get really angry and we just have to try to charge whatever just shot at us. It's a really fun rule, it's a really cool rule, and it's really gonna change how Crusader squads are brought in the games of Warhammer 40,000, which is pretty good because Crusader squads before were just a really expensive way to bring Assault Marines. So having them actually have something that makes them very unique is really good. And you know what else is really good? The Catacombs of the Blessed Dead campaign, which is ending today. It is a collaboration between EonsOfBattle and Trench Crusade to bring a new way to play Trench Crusade, foregoing the open-topped landscapes of trenches and going deep underground into a subterranean lair, the Catacombs, a labyrinth of deadly corridors studded with the bones of the blessed men and women who have died in holy warfare. Not only terrain, we also have our own resin cast minis, the Catacomb Sappers and the Grace of Flesh. This campaign is live now, and today is the very last day. So if you want to check it out, you can follow it linked in the description below. And you know what else you could find linked below? EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find our merch like the Nick and J dice, wet pallets, water slide decals, basing toppers and bits, and we now have nameplates. And it's the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly train packs or any previous pack we have ever made. This September, we are revisiting our Blood Factory with the Dark Factorum Reborn. This is an epic collection of macabre modular walls that allow for building any shape and size of terrain, like L-shaped ruins and claustrophobic hallways. Within this set is the pulsating power plants, the engorged fluid pump, the digestive pools, all capped off with the deafening screams of the breathing organ. These glistening contraptions blend brutal machinery with fleshy constructs, creating a disturbing manufacturing facility full of unsightly architecture. This terrain pack is fully compatible with our previous Dark Manufactorum and expands it sickeningly. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed curling up with this new codex, and it also gave me a great opportunity to reread all of the old mentions of the Black Templar, so that I can just have a better understanding of all of the different lore that is available for my little black-clad suckers. The codex cover, I don't know, I'm kind of in 2 minds about it. It's fine, it looks kind of cool. It does annoy me a little bit that his sword is off the page. I feel like the guy's weapon should be on the page, just in terms of composition, it should be there. But I really like this Mo Howard looking guy from the Three Stooges, just absolutely screaming and firing his bolt gun. I really like him. He's actually my favorite character. Also, this spooky little chaplain and Terminator armor back here is also pretty cool, but I don't know, there's something with this guy. Maybe it's the shawl on his head is a little weird looking. That's not a bit that exists for the Black Templars, so it's a little weird to see it, but overall, the codex cover is fine. Was it worth the 65 bones that I paid for it? No. I would say don't buy the codexes It's really annoying that Games Workshop is still kind of stuck on these. I feel like if they wanted something really, really good, like if they wanted to make it a product that is kind of worth the money, I think either you make them paperback and cheaper. If they were still like $30, maybe that would be perfectly fine to buy every 3 or so years. Or if you want to keep them like hardback and really nice, then literally just take every word ever written about the faction and contain them all in one book. Like if this was the only book that had any Black Templar or anything in it, I think that would probably be worth something. But no, I still need to have this old codex from 2005 on my shelf if I want to own everything that's ever been written about the Black Templars. So I don't feel like the codexes are really worth it. It's really annoying that there's a Webkin style code in the back of these books that I have to put into the app if I want to be able to read the rules for my army in the Games Workshop app. I feel like you already have to pay for the app. So I feel like that should just unlock the rules. And or maybe just like make a subscription that is more money that unlocks all of the rules, because, you know, I paid $65 for this. So that gives me access to 14 data sheets worth of rules. Actually, it would be fun to see if I type this Webkin's code into the app. That's going to unlock the Black Templars data sheets, but is that going to unlock all of the Space Marine data sheets that a Black Templars army has access to? Probably not. I probably would need to buy a Space Marine 10th edition codex and put that Webkin's code into the app. So then I would be able to see all like 40 or 50 some units that are available to all Space Marines and Black Templars, which is just absurd. It would be fine. I would probably pay for a little bit more expensive of an app if I could just read the rules, because sometimes, you know, it's the opponent's turn, and maybe I want to read what the rules for Ghazghkull Thraka are, or read the rules for what Sisters of Battle tank is about to absolutely wreck me. And so it would be fun just to type away at the app and look at what my opponent is doing. But alas, I cannot do that because I'm not going to buy any more of these codexes. The rules are available online places. If you look for them, you'll find them pretty easily. However, if anybody wants to buy codexes for fun, like if you want to buy codexes to read rules and see pretty pictures, I actually highly recommend, if you're at like a used bookstore or something, looking for codexes, but look for these codexes. These would be 8th edition codexes, and these are actually really, really good. They took all of the previous lore that is in old codexes and they put them into these books, but these with the gray border, that's how you can figure out if it's 8th edition, because they don't put like the names of the editions on these books. Games Workshop always likes to pretend that whatever current version of Warhammer exists is the one true version. But look for the gray border and then the pretty glossy picture, and that'll let you know that it's an 8th edition codex. And then you get a really nice hardback book with full color printing throughout the entire book and all of the lore that existed in like 2018 that had ever been written for your faction. So if you're buying codexes for pleasure, I think these should go for like about $10. I bought them from $10 before at like half price books or on Amazon. So definitely look for 8th edition codexes if you're buying codexes for pleasure. Although there is something to be said for the old 4th and 5th edition codexes. These floppy paperbacks are really, really nice. Not color printing, it's mostly black and white except for the pretty picture section. But these are definitely really, really fun reads. There's tons and tons of lore. One thing that I can say for the new Black Templar Codex is there is lore on every single unit for the Black Templars. Actually, no, that's a lie. There's rules, there's a lore for all of the basic troop options for the Black Templars, but there's not rules for there's not lore for dreadnoughts and repulsors and land raiders. Where in older books like this and the 8th edition codexes, there was at least one page of lore about every single unit in the game, which I think is kind of essential. I remember every day in high school rereading the Necron Codex, and it didn't matter what Necron unit is your favorite thing in the army, there is lore specifically about that thing, so you can really read it and devour it and enjoy it. So if anybody is out there looking at codexes right now, maybe skip on the new 10th edition ones and maybe see if you can get a really good deal on some of the older stuff. In my collection of codexes, I own pretty darn close to every codex ever published for every army. I'm missing a couple of the very earliest ones, and I think between 7th and 8th edition, I have a full spread of the Warhammer 40,000 range but I don't have a full set of 8th edition and a full set of 7th edition. And I don't really think I need one. 7th edition was probably the worst edition of Warhammer 40,000. 8th was pretty good. Early 8th edition with the indexes was actually a pretty glorious time in Warhammer 40k's history. And 10th edition, I don't know if this will be an unpopular opinion, but I actually really like 10th edition. I think the rules are really, really tight and solid. There's a couple of things I could nitpick and change about 10th edition, but overall, in terms of the game, I've really been enjoying 10th edition. And in terms of the paper products available from Games Workshop, I think you gotta go a little bit back in time to get the juiciest stuff. But let me know in the comments below, do you guys like the codexes? Are you like me and you're kind of burnt out on these things and you don't like them anymore? They don't seem to have all that much value. And I don't like that they're printed in these hardcovers because it just inflates the price a lot when you're really not getting all that much. It was as much fun as the Psyker blurb in this book that nobody seems to like is. It was not worth the price of admission for this codex. I just wanted to see. I wanted to see what a 10th edition codex was like and if they're worth it. And it turns out, no.